Welcome, welcome, Rebel Writers. I'm so excited to be back here with another installment of our Rebel Writers in Action, our new series that we've curated. So if you are a Rebel Writer, if you are a business owner using your writing tools to, attract your soul-aligned clients, or you've written books and you understand this whole process, feel free to reach out if you are interested in being highlighted in our new series. I'm so excited for today because my dear friend and colleague, Bonnie Hutchinson, is here, and she is definitely a Rebel writer. She has spent many, many years writing and also a little rebellious. She and I have a lot of things in common, and it's always a joy to speak with her. So let me give you the full Bonnie Hutchinson introduction. The full. Bonnie helps women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s and beyond to access their deepest wisdom and make the most powerful and fulfilling phase of their lives. Through private coaching sessions and group programs, her clients are able to heal and dissolve inner blocks, connect more deeply to their soul level wisdom, replenish and rejuvenate their passion and purpose. Who doesn't want that? After years as a teacher, she launched an organizational consulting firm that for 30 years has helped organizations fulfill their mission and better serve their clients and customers. She now loves supporting women over 50 to deepen their spiritual journey and enhance their personal and professional lives. Welcome, Bonnie. What she didn't add in there was that she is also a published author and has hosted many other programs that entail writing, as well as all the energy work. You're a woman who is mastered all the things, and I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you. Wow. Wow. Thank you for that. So I'm going to talk about women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yes.
And why that group, besides, I'll divert for a minute. My mom in her later years, sort of 70 plus, and she was 93 when she died. She began to get a lot of accolades and awards and stuff like that. And one of her great-grandchildren said, "Grandma, how come you're getting all these?" And she said, "I think it's because I got old." And that flashed through my mind as you were talking.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great.
But
well, the cumulative work, right? The years of hard work and wisdom that you glean, and especially, women over 50, it's a whole new time of life.
Yes.
Kids are older, jobs, maybe you're in retirement. I put in quotes because you are not in retirement.
No, and have no intention. Well, we'll see. At the moment, I don't see any reason why I would stop doing what I'm doing unless it wasn't fun anymore.
Exactly.
And then I don't think I think I would then just find something else that was fun to do that I call work. As long as it feels quite a bit like play most of the time.
Yes.
Women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, one of the things most of us, I think, have probably experienced is becoming increasingly invisible. Like standing in a lineup at a drugstore and when did I become invisible? There's a person here. And as recently as yesterday, I had it was in fact at a drugstore. And the nice lady at the cashier did the thing. I paid. She handed me the stuff and said, "There you go, dear." And I decided, just take your stuff and go, Bonnie. But it's not the first time and won't be the last that this, in fact, I actually wrote a fairly snarky article about "I am not your dear." But, and one of the people who read that article wrote me a note that said, "I can see why I understand that you don't like people calling you dear." And then he said, "People have called me names that we couldn't print in this publication and sent letters, including not only horrible names, but death threats. And actually, he is now, I now know, he was a retired public health inspector." Oh yeah, people would call it, yeah, when he's shutting down their business because it's, well, anyway.
Right.
He'd be subject to that sort of thing. Anyway, his parting line, he now in retirement is a Walmart greeter. And he said, "If people want to call me dear, that's okay with me." So anyway, women in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, we become invisible or feel invisible, like nobody's paying attention. And it's ironic because I know I am not the only one in my generation, but let's say 60s, 70s, 80s, and one of my favorite people is 90. And learning and growing and expanding and trying new things.
Yes.
And as do most of the people that I hang out with in my age group. And it seems to me we have more wisdom. Most of us are smart. Maybe all of us are smart, intelligent in the various ways we are intelligent. And wisdom is not the same. It's deeper, and we've never felt so wise in our lives. And we are increasingly less likely to be paid attention to. It seems really ironic.
Yeah.
But the greater the wisdom, you would hope to get to share that. So I don't mean to sound whiny.
No.
But oh well.
Right.
But that struck me. So that's the age group I most want to work with because I'm familiar with it.
Sure.
And have experienced it. And
because there's so much there to offer. Sorry,
yeah,
mid-sentence.
The other thing that increasingly, well, you mentioned less responsibility. Yeah, it struck me, actually, it's not that many months ago, but it has been years since anyone in my family. So I now have 4 generations. I'm a great grandma, so I'm mother, grandmother, great grandmother, not to mention sibling and those kind of things. And I still have one auntie who is alive, so I'm also still a niece. And all those family roles. And it just, the other thing that as I have had less external responsibilities, and now really any responsibilities I have are ones I chose, as opposed to, yes, you chose to be a parent, but you didn't always sort of have a total grasp on all that might involve. But it's different at this stage. I realize no member of my family is actually dependent on me for anything. It thrills me that they like having me around sometimes, but nobody needs me. And I find that incredibly liberating.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And like, I hope this gives you hope for your future. I mean,
Yeah.
there will be a day when nobody needs you, and whatever you contribute is your choice and your timing and in the manner that you want to do it. It's not a responsibility. It is so freeing. It doesn't mean you won't do anything, but a sense of liberation is it's a gift of, imagine living long enough to get, I mean, what a privilege.
Yeah, let it be so for all of us.
The other thing that has been increasingly important to me, and it started in my 40s, when I became more aware of spiritual things and had some bizarre experiences that led me into all sorts of interesting adventures that, had I been exposed to those things earlier, would have thought, yeah, it's just your imagination or whatever.
Mhm.
But increasingly, that spiritual journey has been more and more important to me, which makes sense to me as, you have more time for things like that. You're not so concerned with day-to-day rock pile kinds of responsibilities, but also the luxury of time and opportunity to explore with other kindred spirits and individually
Mhm.
that spiritual journey. And one of the things that I'm finding great joy is sharing with other women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and as I said, including a friend who is 90. And what we also have in common for the most part is our spiritual journey is something that it's important to us.
Mm.
May not be the dominant force in every day, but it's something that matters to us, and we have the luxury of exploring that more deeply when we have less immediate responsibilities to other people we care about, but we're not responsible for in the way that we used to be. And so that deepening of the spiritual journey, and there's no one around to interfere with if you want to try this weird thing or that, whatever, on your own or with someone. So one of the things that I love is working one-on-one or in groups with women in their 50s, 60s, 70s. And there was one program I offered recently that a friend who happens also to be a male said, how come you're only offering this to women? And I said, want to join? And he said, yes. So he did. And I was uneasy and consulted my inner wisdom that yes, that was appropriate. I almost said, can you go find another guy? Because one man in a group of women, I have had experiences where one of two things happened, neither of which I liked. One was that the guy dominated and other women just kept sort of shutting up and shutting down.
Mm.
But the other thing that happened is one man sort of got to be the symbol of everything in all the women had ever been tipped off about.
Oh no.
And that wasn't.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So I was fretting about that, but as it turned out, he was a wonderful addition to the group.
Mm.
And it really enhanced the group to have at least two genders that we know about present. And that was really neat. But really the theme of most of the work that I do, one-on-one or in groups, is one way or another, through a whole bunch of techniques and practices, help each of us, starting with myself, but everyone I'm working with, to connect more deeply with our own inner wisdom.
Mm.
And that's, the more we can do that, the deepest part of ourselves is the wisest part of ourselves.
Mm.
Having the luxury of less external responsibilities to experience that. And over the years, to explore more and more ways that you can connect with your deepest inner wisdom. And in the fairly early on in my, at least I think maybe everybody's on a spiritual journey from the time they're born, but let's say a conscious spiritual journey, you're sort of aware that, oh yeah, there's that too. That early on, I was kind of not in despair exactly, but wondering, how's this going to be? Because it seemed like meditation, and people talked about, clear your mind.
Mm.
My mind doesn't do clear.
Yeah,
It's chatty.
yeah, mine
And I'd
too.
be trying to, empty my mind and think about, what's for breakfast. Oh, oops. And so to discover, well, that's one way. And there are people on this planet who excel at that method of being able to clear their mind.
Yeah.
And I even now can say with absolute authenticity, sometimes I have that experience too. Sometimes it's like for more than 3 seconds at a time. It's and beside each other, the seconds. But sorry.
It's fantastic. It's a very, and I'm laughing because I know it's true for me and so many of us.
Yeah, and it's not, it's perhaps it's an ADHD thing, but but to know, start with senses, sight, sound, touch, taste, smell. How do we connect with our deepest wisdom? Using sight. Like probably all of us have seen something, whether it's a gorgeous piece of art or a beautiful sunset or a charming interaction between two loving people, or what we have seen things that is an example of wisdom in action and inner wisdom, sort of highest truth, highest integrity. Sound, we certainly know that music, for example, and you know about music, that there is music that can take us places, that it's transcendent. And it has intrigued me with music that some of the people that wrote some of the most transcendent music I've ever heard were also not particularly nice people. Wagner comes to mind. At least, of course, I didn't know him personally, but it didn't seem like he was a very nice person.
Right.
He wrote transcendent music that could take you to these amazing places of exaltation in some way. So anyway, the idea of there are an infinite number of ways that we can connect more deeply with our inner wisdom. And so sensory experiences, meditation, etc., etc. I think deep conversations with people where you really do connect at the soul level is another one. And helping other people connect more deeply with their own inner wisdom and share that sometimes with others.
Yes.
And sometimes express that through, for example, writing, or some people write music or art or acts of kindness or whatever. That the idea of helping people connect more deeply with their inner wisdom, my belief is the more we are deeply connected to the wisest part of ourselves, the more our lives are simply fulfilling and satisfying, no matter what might be happening in the world, or even what might be happening in our own lives. When we are connected to our deepest wisdom, we have a kind of resilience and resources that it isn't that we don't grieve, it isn't that we don't get ticked off, it isn't a whole bunch of stuff, but what it is we have the resilience to, even if we're feeling not at our finest or not at our nicest, that we have the wisdom almost always to maybe not speak just yet, or maybe have a lot of fun thinking about what you'd like to do to such and such a person, but you won't do it. And you can trust yourself not ever to deliberately do harm. I mean, you might be klutzy, but it was never your intention to do harm. So you can trust your own intention.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful, Bonnie. So many different ways that we can tap back in, so many different tools. And you have all of these and have shown your clients and your people connected with you how to tap into those things. One more question that I want to hone in on, because I know you have something exciting coming up. in early August. So I want to hear a little bit more about A Taste of Soul Powers. This is a program you have coming up. So let us
Right.
know the details and how this all came to be, and what a fantastic title. I love it. Just a taste, just getting a little taste of our soul powers.
Yeah, think hors d'oeuvres. Yeah. Well, I'll start with dates. It's August the 2nd and the 5th and the 9th. So, and those dates were chosen. The distance between them,
Mm.
each one goes a little bit deeper. So August 2nd, overview of a couple of, well, actually, maybe I should back up and say soul power. I think soul power is any way that you can access, I would say, in the biggest, it's access divine consciousness as expressed through you.
Mm.
And maybe other ways, others, but so you can be an ever more uniquely you way of expressing divine consciousness through your actions and words and the way you live your life and the kind of energy you transmit wherever you are.
Mhm.
So that's, so the power of intention would be an example of soul power. You will know from your experience the power of sending positive energy, like to some vehicle such as Reiki, but there are many ways to, those would be examples of.
Mhm.
I think those are, they may be at many levels, including physical, but they are also at the soul level. So soul powers. I'm actually leading up to a program that is called 12 Soul Powers for Turbulent Times.
Mm.
It begins in September. But as a taste of some of what will be offered in that longer program, 3 webinars, August 2nd, August 5th, and August 9th. So we'll have a kind of overview and a few examples on the second. The second one, we have a few more examples and go more a little deeper. And on the 9th, yet again, some other examples of soul powers. And each one will be a little bit deeper. And they're 3 or 4 days apart, so that it's only a week between the first one and the second and the third one, with one in the middle. And that's deliberate so that you have time. You get so far in the first session, they're 90 minutes.
Mhm.
Then you can percolate, play around with for a couple of days, and
Love
then move a little deeper. And again, time to percolate in between. So my intention is the opportunity for more integration
Mhm.
than if we did half a day altogether, or if we did them closer together. So time to percolate, but not so much that you lose momentum. That's the logic of
Right,
the dates.
right.
Yeah.
I love it.
And
Well, go ahead.
you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just going to say, it sounds amazing. And we'll, of course, make sure that we get the links down in the comments so folks can attend the webinar and get a little taste of the amazing work that you offer for so many. And maybe just one more little piece of wisdom I would love to end on. Here we are in Rebel Writers, and what does the writing work mean to you in this? You know, how do you infuse these soul powers even with your writing work as well?
There's 2 overarching aspects. And one is I almost anytime, I don't always remember, but almost always, before I start writing anything, I move into my ADHD version of a semi-meditative state, and but get grounded and simply ask, that all those that read whatever I am about to write, that it ends up being in some way for their highest good,
Mm,
period. And I don't need to know who or what or any of that, just highest good.
mhm.
So that's the aspect of my intention. So clarifying my intention. And then the other part is, I guess I said them both in one sentence before, but is that whatever would be the most beneficial for a reader to get from this particular, whatever it is I'm writing,
Mhm.
that they get whatever would be the gift that would be most valuable for them,
Mm,
whether it's a snippet of an insight they never had before, or, oh, I never thought of that, or, ooh, I didn't know about that tool, or whatever, or just it made me laugh.
right.
And that was fun, but that in some way it'd be for the highest good of whoever reads it.
Mhm.
So my intention and that they run together, but
Beautiful.
part of it is what I feel responsible for,
Mhm.
me. And secondly is that the universe help out with positive impact.
Oh, I love that. Positive impact. That's what we all are here to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Bonnie, for joining us today. It's always such a gift to speak with you and to have you here. You
Ditto,
are,
ditto.
yes, you are up to some amazing things, and I look forward to seeing what comes next.
Yes, me too. It's really neat at this late stage of life to be curious and not know what
Mm.
comes next. Ooh.
Indeed. Indeed. It's a beautiful space to be in.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Bonnie. And thank you all, Rebel Writers. Let us know your thoughts and anything that's landed for you today down in the comments, and say hello. And then I will make sure that we can get you those links to Bonnie's A Taste of Soul Powers coming up in early August. So thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.